In fact, the Ministry of Civil Aviation has just put out a statement on the back foot. Civil Aviation Ministry finally responds to the crisis that India is facing today with regards to the number of cancellations that have essentially taken place. Questions being raised about whether at all this was a manufactured crisis to begin with after the FDTL norms that was rolled back by the DGCA. We'll try and put out the statement in a while from now as to what exactly is the roadmap right now for the Ministry of Civil Aviation and what is it that they have told the airlines. In fact, two set of meetings that have taken place since the crisis began, with the Civil Aviation Minister calling the airline management to resolve the issue. It seems that Indigo in the first meeting itself said that they aren't in a position to perhaps comply with the FDTL norms, which is essentially a norm by which the pilots get a resting period, and that was an enhanced resting period that was given to the pilots as per the new rules. Now, going back to the old rules would essentially mean that the pilots would operate at a lesser number of free hours, and more importantly, Indigo maintains that the new rules have essentially impacted their crew roster, resulting in a situation that they do not have enough crew members to fly their aircraft, and that is the reason why the number of flights that have been cancelled over the last 3 days. This is the fourth day where the number of cancellations have gone up to more than 100 cancellations that have already taken place from across different parts of the country, starting from New Delhi to Mumbai, major cities where the cancellations have been reported. In fact, through the day, there would be no operations of Indigo in most cities, with New Delhi, where we have been told that the operations have been suspended till about midnight. In Mumbai, where the cancellations have essentially taken place, and we're being told that over 60 flights have been cancelled in Mumbai itself. Bangalore has been one of the worst hits. We've essentially witnessed several pilgrims who were basically on the way to Kerala. They've been stranded there. Protests are essentially taking place inside the airport. But inside sources basically now indicating that the DGCA has essentially given in to what Indigo has been demanding, that is a rollback to the old norms to begin with, the FDTL norms that have been brought in. In fact, in the latest notification that has been issued to Indigo, they've essentially asked for a compliance every 15 days, and 30 days time have now been given to Indigo to essentially comply with the new FDTL norms that have been brought in. We'll try and see if we can get in any of our reporters on the ground right now and see what we can actually get on board right now. In fact, some reports can also be played out. A short while back, there were reports that came in from Bhubaneswar, Hyderabad, as well as Mumbai and in the national capital too, where because of the cancellations that have taken place, other airlines have actually increased their airfares. Air India being one such. Air India Express have also increased their airfares, and Indigo has put the entire blame on the new rules that were brought in. As of now, there has been a templated response really coming in from Indigo. In fact, Indigo has simply apologized by stating that they are going to gradually normalize the situation. So it is unexpected that situation will be normalized in the next couple of hours. It seems that the flights would be suspended for some more time till a time when they are in a position to normalize the situation. Let me just quickly recap before we try and at least go across to some of the reporters on the ground. One, with regards to the notification that is now basically coming in from the DGCA, where they're essentially admitting to the fact that it is Indigo which had basically asked for a rollback or at least more time before they can actually implement the new norms, which means as of today, they would be going back to the old norms, by which pilots would be only getting about 38 hours of rest, unlike the new norms which had basically stipulated 48 hours of resting time for the pilots. In fact, the rollback came in roughly around 2 o'clock this afternoon after the meeting that took place and was called by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. In fact, it seems that airline bodies have now slammed Indigo, saying that this was a manufactured crisis simply because of the fact that they were essentially given enough time to comply with the new rules. But compliance with the new rules would have essentially meant hiring of more pilots, because Indigo had frozen the hiring process. Secondly, with regards to the new rules, that would have had some impact on Indigo's nighttime operations. It seems that the nighttime operations have also taken a massive hit. We'll try and see if we can go to any of our reporters right now. Shambhavi is joining us on this broadcast. Shambhavi, there's been a clear rollback coming in, but at the same time, some confusion coming in with regards to why exactly 30 days have now been given to the airline to comply with the rules. Shambhavi, can you hear me? We seem to be having some trouble connecting with Shambhavi on the phone line right now. I'll just take you through some of the images that are coming in right now. These images that you see from Mumbai and also from Bengaluru, where clearly passengers are seeking a response from the frontline staff workers of the airline. It seems that those behind the glass doors of Indigo haven't really found any answer to these very questions. Most of the passengers have been complaining about the fact that once they've landed at the airport, there's been no communication from the airline's side in terms of whether at all there's going to be a refund to begin with. Many passengers have also claimed that they were essentially asked to stand in a line to get their refund. In fact, several reports now coming in from Mumbai. We're going to try and put that out in a short while from now, where we're given to understand that some passengers have complained of uneasiness and resulting in doctors being called in at the Mumbai airport. We'll try and see what we can get in. My colleague Niranjan is also joining us on this broadcast. Niranjan, what we had essentially reported this morning, that it appears to be a manufactured crisis, because Indigo in their first meeting had clearly stated that they wanted a rollback to the old rules.
That's correct, and eventually that's what has happened. Now, there is a detailed statement that we're also getting in right now. And in this very detailed statement that has just been put out, especially all airlines, especially Indigo, will resolve to severe disruption in flight schedules and stabilize services without delay. I'm taking you through the full statement. 2 orders have been issued to mitigate the problems faced by the public, restore stability of services, especially by Indigo. The ministry statement saying that all flight schedules would stabilize, begin returning to normal midnight. So they claim it's going to be midnight and they will be normalized after that. Full services and stability will return over the next couple of days. Passengers can track delays, if any, from home through information system installed by Indigo and others. And in the event of flight cancellation of Indigo, will ensure automatic full refund for tickets. And if passengers are stranded, they will be put up at hotels where accommodation has been booked by airlines. Special measures have been taken to ensure senior citizens are not discomforted in any manner. They will be provided with lounge access. Passengers of delayed flights provided with refreshments, other necessities. 24/7 control room and Ministry of Civil Aviation constantly monitoring the situation on real-time basis. Now, they claim it's going to be, fine by tonight, Shambhavi. That's what the statement says. By midnight, it's going to be okay. But some airlines have already cancelled flights for the next few days. Not just today, but for next few days. Jammu, for example, saying that no Indigo flights for the next 60 hours at least. Jammu.
Right, and these have been some of the most common complaints, even when we spoke to the passengers here who were stranded, who've been stranded for more than 28-30 hours at the airport. The first one was the lack of accommodation, any kind of accommodation for the people whose flight have been cancelled for more than 48 hours, and that has been resolved here. And especially one of the most grave issues were the stranded elderly people, senior citizens. Even one of them fainted in the middle of the airport because of so much crowd. crowd and lack of proper facilities. Now they will be taken care of. And earlier when Indigo was presenting the issues that it had with this FTDL rule, was they wanted some relief on the definition when it comes to the night shift, so that they can accommodate more pilots in the roster and more flights can be used. And this grave situation which is happening in this aviation industry right now can be relieved in some sort. So major issues like providing of water, refreshments, and also a proper accommodation or even refund, because a lot of these people, they have booked flights for a lot amount of money, and when they are trying to book flights in other airlines for a flight which usually costs 9 to 11,000, let's just say for Delhi to Chennai, Air India is the ticket is for around 60,000. So the price has increased multifolds, and this will definitely serve as a relief for the passengers who've been stranded here or who have become a victim to this crisis, to this Indigo crisis.
Okay, right. I'm going to stay with the details of the statement. Ministry of Civil Aviation claims that full services will be restored in a few days, but looking at the situation in different airports, in fact, let's look at the different images also coming in from the different airports. Let's play out some reports. In Bangalore, there have been protests this morning, over 100 flights that have been cancelled in Bengaluru alone. Similarly, there's some protests that were seen in Mumbai. And in many cities, the protests have been seen in airports with people asking, what about their refunds? What about their luggage? What about their accommodation? And the Ministry of Civil Aviation says that it will be all right by tonight. But the fact is, with over 1,200 flights that are already cancelled, the situation will need some answers. For example, what about the passengers who've lost out in the last 36 hours? And India's biggest aviation meltdown is now centered in the national capital, where over 200 flights were cancelled today alone. 225 in Delhi today. All flights were cancelled, and Indigo domestic departures from Delhi have been put on hold, triggering huge disruptions. Long delays were seen, sudden cancellations, packed terminals, and tempers running high.